For those who come for the first time, was it too hard with the meditation? You know that you meditate for 50 minutes, right? That is 50 minutes. That was 50 minutes meditation. 50. One of the things that we can also keep track is that if you accounted the 50 minutes as 100%, you can also observe that how awareness that you can, how much you can be aware of yourself in that 100%. So at the beginning, you can start from just being aware and be half of the time, sometimes even 20% with our mind wander. But as long as you even realize that you are wandering, that is also actually the state of mindfulness too. Just to aware that you have wandering mind, you already cultivate the mindfulness. That's actually how it works. And then you notice that the feeling of contentment is increasing over time if you are able to let go, if you are able to disconnect and come back to where you feel relaxed, feel sabai, right? You feel that you're so grounded. That contentment is the key word, is the key indicators that it keep increasing. The volume of contentment will increasing as time goes by until you feel so full just to be right here. Meditation is not some practice that we do once in a while, but it's something that will also create something like mental habits that we can also take it back into incorporate with our life. Many times when we feel that we dealt with problems that cause us to feel stress, feel anxieties, feel depressed, most cases that we keep our attention so deeply ingrained in it. So it's holding like this. And the more that we connect with it, the more it keep dragging us deeper into that thoughts, which also escalate into many scenarios. Then the whole thing is even worse. So then we practice this a lot. It helps us to develop a new habit, and that habit is the disconnection, the habit to let go, the habit to take things easier. We also have this stressor stimuli around us. It is normal because life is full of problems. But ability to not take on that emotional burdens of it, and that is something that you can cultivate to the practice of mindfulness and meditations. So that's why people feel that they can take things easier, even their situation in life don't change, but simply because the way you deal with the situation changed. In fact, we had that ability before we knew how to do that. Imagine let's say when you were 6 years old, you dropped your mother's favorite cup, everything shattered completely. Oops. And just as any good kid would do, if we break something belongs to our mother, we just gonna hide it and pretend nothing happened. So that's what we did, right? We gotta pretend like nothing happened. We just keep quiet for a while. We went to bed. And no, at first we felt worried, but after a whole night of sleeping, we get up in the morning. How did we feel? Fine. Nothing happened, right? The reality is that the problem hasn't changed a bit. The cup still broke. Your mother hasn't found out yet. That's reality. The only thing that's changed is how you feel about the problems. That is not a big deal anymore. If my mother talked to me, I will deal with that later. The thing is that is actually what we can do when we were younger. We are able to just snap our attention, all of it, forget about it easily, so that we don't really put our own mind so much and keep on escalating worry until it needs to be dealt with. But nowadays, as time goes by, we have more things to be worried about. So it's like you want to disconnect from your job, and then you got your kids, and you got your boss, you can everything, bills, everything just keep coming up. It's like peeling an onions. The more that you peel, the more that you cry. So that's why it becomes much harder for us to disconnect. But the key is the same. It's just there are more things to disconnect, to unwind, so that you can put your attention to things that need to be dealt with right at the moment. Because at the end of the day, even you feel there are a million things to deal with, you can still deal with it one at a time. You can't deal with 10 things at a time anyway. You have your attention on one thing. There are only two scarcity in life, time and attention. because you can invest both at once. Time and attention are only to scarcity. Not everything else is abundance. So that is what you need. That is why if we are able to retract our attentions, don't get ourselves so emotionally involved, then we can slowly letting it go. And that's why the key word of it is letting go, that I was trying to repeat from the very beginning. It sounds simple. All these things, when these different gurus are talking about let go, taking things easy, be in the present moments, they are related. So these are techniques. When the moment you let go, you can be in the present moment. Or when you try to be present, automatically you let go. So two things work together in that way. So these are the techniques that we can cultivate in order to enhancing ability to disconnect from the stressor of a stimuli that cause us to have the different worries or concerns and develop into different sensations. However, what exactly that we need to let go? They are related. Letting go, positive thinking. Positive thinking is not lying to yourself, actually, as people would think. It's the ability to find happiness in times of trouble. It's not lying to yourself, but it's ability to find happiness in times of trouble. Our life, there are always two sides of the story that we can look at. There's always sides of pain and the sides of happiness that stay existed in the same coin. It's just two-sided where we flip it. We choose where to flip. If we flip on the side of pain, we engage into that. Life sports sucks. If you flip the other side, there's always things to look at and just make feel enjoyable. So that ability to shift our attention to something positive, that is the key word. But it also requires us to let go a certain amount of control. By understand the reality of things is that you can't really control everything much. You cannot control the way the world is, the way traffic will be, the way people will act or react. You can only deal with your response, yourself, your input of the actions, and the rest will happen as a result of different factors combined to creating the outcome. But if we try so much in trying to capture only one aspect of the outcome, we trap in. The same thing when people try to be perfect. The moment we try to be perfect, we lock into only one outcome until we throw away millions of possibilities for things to arrive. So even it could be better than what we imagine as perfections, we don't appreciate it because we don't see we lock in only one way only. So the part of letting go is letting go of that control. And it's a matter of choice. Because the moment that we hold on to something, we trap. I used to give this example a lot, that if you want to catch a monkey, one of the easiest way is that you don't have to set something very difficult. You get a coconut. You make a little hole, put nuts in the hole, and wait right there. Put it right there waiting for the monkey. The monkey will come down from the tree, get really naughty and curious. The monkey will stick its hands in coconuts and grab the nuts. The moment it does that, the monkey makes a hand like a ball where it's trapped. Now the monkey will just scream panic, running around, but it can't go back to a tree because it has no hand to climb. So that's basically how we catch a monkey. So easy, right? But reality is if the monkey wants to be free, it's so simple as to let go of the nuts. As long as the monkey holds onto the nuts, it can't go anywhere. It's trapped. If the monkey wants to go somewhere else, he just open his hand, can take its hands out of coconut immediately. The same thing, when we hold on to some certain kind of ideas, we get trapped into that. We lock in. The moment we open our hands, we let go of the control, we open ourselves to possibilities to see. So that is the really meaning of letting go. It's not about neglecting responsibilities as people think. That's how people confuse it all the time. Say, I let go, I don't care about anything. That's you running away from problem. It doesn't really work that way too. You still deal with it, but you don't take on these emotional burdens. You don't try to expect people to do this or do that. Give them what to do. You monitor them what to do. It doesn't have to be exactly the way you want it to all the time. It takes some time to make that until you feel peace of mind. I remember I used to be crazy, working, controlling kind of type, where I believe that if I don't do something, the world is going to stop spinning. It doesn't function without me. But reality is that it still functions as normal whether I'm there or not. There's always replaceable for me. I just believe that it's not possible. It is. Everything is just going to go the way it can be. It's going to work in certain kind of different ways. It's just only we ourselves that we put that so much attention that I have to be the one who fix the whole thing. And that's why sometimes we put it too much burden on ourselves. Do our part. Let go of our emotional burdens of them, and we'll take things much easier. That's actually how simple let go can be. It comes from this different practice. When you try to be more mindful in the day, when you practice meditation, you slowly cultivate that habit. You see, at the beginning of the meditations, it's all about you letting go of the thoughts, letting go of the feelings, your pain, your wandering thoughts, the syncamas, coming back here. The same techniques. That is how we cultivate the habit to disconnect from different bothers or disturbance. When I was teaching meditation in India, it's very interesting. In India, it's a country where everybody will honk the horns all the time. In India, it's actually said when you're using horn on the streets, it's a sign to tell them where you are. So if there's an accident, if you don't use the horn, you are wrong, because you don't tell the others where you are. Behind the truck, there will be a painting. In every truck said, "Horn, please." Not stopping people from using it, but encouraging people to use it. So if you go to India, you're gonna be sitting right here, and you all translate and the whole time. I remember the first time I went there, it went into my sleep. If you choose to be disturbed by that, every little sound will make you go crazy. But reality says, can you stop it? You can't. I can't. And the fact that I can't stop any of those sounds, instead of I choose to make them my enemy, I make them my friend. Because I choose to make them enemies every time I hear the sounds, I want to yell at them, I want to make people stop doing it. But I can't. It's not within my control. So the best way is just sit there and feel that everything just bouncing, ping, ping, ping. If I don't pay attention, finally it no longer exists. We can tune out any sounds, any smells. If you don't get overly excited, overly bothered about it, we can tune them out. Just like some of you may have been done before, when people were complaining, saying things that you don't want to hear, you just ignore it for a while. Finally, it don't matter, right? The same thing when someone say bad things to you, you feel that it's like somebody pierced your heart with a knife, right? But reality is that when they say something bad to you, I didn't put that knife in your heart. What I did is to leave the knife. And what you did is to grab a knife and stab your heart. It's not what people do that make you feel bad. It's how you choose to be affected by those people. In the same way that if you choose to let go of the knife, it stays right there. So you can choose to make this disturbance around you as your friends or your enemy. A matter of choice. If you choose to make them your friend, you can tune them out. If you want to make them enemy, they stick with you. Because at the end of the day, we can choose what kind of attention we can put in so that we have the better moods, better feelings, or what kind of thought we should have so that we can have the positive ideas about ourselves and our life. It's your choice. It doesn't depend on people. It doesn't depend on any others. Season change, but your mind don't change. Inner peace don't change. Of course, it takes practice. I know it sounds ideally. But it's something that takes time to cultivate, but it's not too difficult. As a Buddhist monk, when I learned one of the teachings that the Buddha said 9 months after his enlightenment, that is considered as one of the foundations of the sort of the whole teachings of the Buddha. It says so beautifully, it said Kanti Paramanta Pahutitika in Pali. I know you don't know what that means. It literally translates as, and patience and tolerance are the tools that eliminate your defilements. I know you don't get it either. It's kind of very beautifully made in translation. My translation version is life sucks, so suck it up. There's always suckness in life. We cannot fool ourselves. It's always beautiful, that's all. So we learn to suck it up and put it away and put our attention somewhere else. That's it. If we let our mind get sucked into the suckness of life, then life really sucks. We can choose to put our attention where it belongs. That's all. Nobody can help you with that. Your job. So that's why constantly bring your attention back to yourself. Constantly cultivated mindfulness can be very helpful. So many times in the day, you don't have to go back home, meditate 15 minutes a day, even though I know it's a good thing, right? But your life may be too busy for that. At least many times in the day, you can simply close your eyes, take a long, soft and deep breath, sit and listen, just to feel your environment until you feel grounded and centered. It may only take a few minutes, but it's enough for you to just be so grounded, to disconnect from things on the outside, so that you can choose to put your attention where you want it to be. If you do that many times in the day, you harness that attention, just like in the Panda movie. You can harness the flow of the universe instead of trying to stop the flow of the universe and make it the way you want it, because it's not possible. You can go with the flow of the universe again. Any questions?
Where's the space for emotion? Like, for example, something like grief, the loss of whatever is, it just seems like sometimes when people say you need to cry through it or be angry or whatever that is, I mean, there's a time and place for it. Wouldn't it be just distracting myself to, I mean, I'm not saying just meditation, but when people say stay busy or do this or do that, isn't that distraction?
In a way, we always be distracted by many things in a way. So there is even the research saying that if you want, we can't stop distraction, we always be distracted. That's the key. But how we can create a controlled distraction that make us become more focused. For example, there was a research saying that if you want to work better, if you use certain kind of soft and easy listening music so you can tune out easily, is something kind of controlled distraction. However, which is different from the emotions. Emotion is not a bad thing. Understand first. I never said emotion is just a bad thing, but it's transformed the way we see everything. Imagine if this glass of water is filled with ink, no matter what color it is. If the ink is blue, and I look through this glass and see the world, what the color of the world I will see? Blue. If the ink is green, what the color of the world I will see? Green. If I will see the world in green, which means my reaction is to the world, it's not the world as reality, but the world that I see, right? So that is why whether people look at the world through everything, to grief, to pain, to angers, to egos, to jealousy, those are the ink. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, it just transforms the way you perceive things. That's why people interpret it afterward. They can be negative to themselves, they can be positive to others. There are many ways. But when the water becomes clear, that's when the reality is perceived. So understand that part after emotion first. Now, what you're talking about as Christ release your anger, that is how we deal with the emotions. Some way to deal with emotion is good, some way is just negative. When we are grieving because we are sad, it is normal to be sad. It's normal to be angry. I never stop people saying you can't stop being angry in a way. You're a human being. You can't stop feeling sad. But it's not good to be overly sad until you get so stuck in that, because life moves on every day. So that's why it's a key that how we can transform that grief into action, into something that helps us to move on and be more happier and deal with it, instead of stuck in that pain all the time. Last year I was in Mexico, and there was an earthquake, right? A very big earthquake in Mexico City. And it's been 3 months, and people are still terrifying about the earthquake. They come to the meditation session, they were really worried, crying. I mean, I get that. But the thing is that if you ask the questions like, can you stop the earthquake? Can you bring back the people who pass away? So these are the questions we always answer. No, we can't do anything about it. So what we need to do is move on. That's the matter of how. Grief is not a bad thing, but sometimes we get just so caught up in it until we just keep moving over and over again. So instead of just being sad about it, we can transform our thoughts into how I should remember a person, how I should live my life to honor the person. That will transform the same grief into actions, right? So see, we can also transform even the negative emotions that we develop into something more productive too. When I said this, I usually explain that, you know that in Thailand, the funeral is not the same as in the West. We do invite the monks to recite the prayers, but the prayer is not for the deceased, it's for the living. In the West, usually you ask the priest to say a prayer to the deceased, right? And everybody comes to mourn together, to grieve together. In Thailand, it's different ways. We invite the monk to recite the prayers so the living can sit and listen, so that everybody can cultivate positive energy and dedicate to the deceased together. So we sad, yes, but sad doesn't help. How we can transform it to be something that we can help the deceased, we put it into the actions.
And also to add to that, in Mexico they celebrate the Day of the Dead, which is actually a celebration of the person's life through color and music, and it's a very beautiful process to grief. Yeah,
exactly. There are many ways to deal with grief. You can just keep being sad, stuck in the feeling that I lost a person. In the reality is that in the next 10 years, you're going to lose a person because he's gone. That person is gone, right? You cannot bring them back. It's how you're going to live your life as the way to remind the person, in memory of the person, honor the person. Or even think that how would that person that you love want you to live your life after this, after they're gone. But when we get locked up with only one thing, that I lost a person, we get so stuck in the grief and then we can't move on at all. It's not that because I'm happy I'm doing something wrong to the person who passed away. It doesn't have to be that way.
Are there negative ways? You said there are good ways to deal with emotion. What are the negative ways?
The negative way will be different things that we do that become self-destructive, or we just get so consumed by it until we can't get on with our life. Remember that when people really ask, what is the purpose of life? And that is to be happy, to find happiness. Of course, there are moments that it's like a little bump, but that doesn't mean we have to get stuck and stand on the bump, right? Because it's just our journey to that happiness that each and every individual has to take. So that is the negative side of it, that we get so locked in, trapped in it, and we can't get on, move on. The same as with the anger. We can keep angry with the person for the next 10, 20 years if we don't let it go. But reality is that we can't do anything about that. There was somebody always, do something not so nice to you, but why you keep thinking about it? It's not going to change anything. Pain is already created. Scars don't heal. But as time goes by, it fades. But if you keep looking at the sky, keep scratching it over time, it creates more wound, right? Instead, if you let time heal the wound until the sky is faded, it won't happen because you keep scratching over and over again. That's a negative way to do it. That's why when people forgive, you just look at it, stop it, let it heal. It takes time, but it will. Okay, so let's enjoy yummy Thai food.
Not now,ค่ะ. Please ask more questions. The food is not ready yet.
Oh.
Yes,
Yep.
I do. Yeah. Oh, thank you. I'm interested when you talked about control, wanting to control a situation, and that's of interest to me because I understand where you said where they can't get along without me or I have to. But what if you recognize that your input can make a difference? That
Exactly.
It's not about controlling it, but that your hand in something can ease things for others. I think that, I guess that's my exception, where it could be perceived as controlling, but if that's not my intention, my intention is to ease things, or I see that I could do help. I don't, I can't control if somebody thinks I'm controlling it, and that's not my intent.
Very good.
I mean, is that...
Exactly, that is what I want you to focus on, your actions, your input, not the outcome.
Right.
When people control, they want to control outcome only. My kid has to be that way, they have to do it this way, it has to turn out this way. That's the outcome that we get a lock-in. But input is what you can still keep doing.
Okay.
But on the side that, what you do, it must not be upon the expense of the others. Yesterday, I think we had this question about helping others. Sometimes we also have to think whether that person wants help. Or it is because I think they need help.
No, that's true.
And sometimes help becomes something that is not needed. There are moments even in our life that I feel down, I feel trouble, but I don't feel people to help me. If they help me by sitting right there, comforting me, be my friend, that's good enough. But if they do more than that, I'm getting so annoyed by that. Have you ever felt that? Yes, we did.
Yes.
So that's why also when you put the input, it's also think in a way that what kind of input that will be enough just for the moment. Because otherwise it transforms onto something else.
Yes. Yeah, I had an experience where I thought I knew the way. My way was the only way. But I had somebody be persistent. They weren't put off by my attitude on that. They kept introducing something until I recognized, oh my goodness, what they were trying to share with me made things so much easier.
Exactly.
But I couldn't it took me, but she didn't stop. She wasn't aggressive, but she persisted.
Yep.
And then I saw, and then I realized, oh my goodness, what was I doing?
My younger sister, she didn't get married. Now she doesn't get married. She was happily single. She had a boyfriend once, and they were getting close to getting married. But she was, every once in a while, she was just call me, crying, complaining that her boyfriend was not so nice, a whole 9 yards. The thing is that me, my parents, her friends, and the boyfriend's friends has been telling her to break up with the guy. He's cheating behind your back, He doesn't treat you right. Everybody's kept telling her that. Yeah. But anyway, she still stayed with it until they planned to get married, but that she had to study in Canada. So when she came to study in Canada, I think this is one of the best things I love about Facebook, because you can catch somebody cheating on you. That's how she did. She caught the guy doing exactly, she take this girl to every place that she took her with. That's the worst thing, right? So that made her really realize how, behind her back she was terrible. And then she called me, she was crying, of course. But then she made a decision that I decided to break up with them. I was so determined, right? And without me telling her what to do. Finally, she come back. She told him to break up. She come back. She tries to get back with her because they already set the date for wedding. Nope. I'm happy as I am. And she get to all that without me telling her what to do. At one point, I even stopped telling her to break up. I just listened to her problems. Said, it's okay. It's not your fault. You have been doing your best. I just keep supporting her. Because, we have the ability, if the person just retract themselves emotionally, they focus on what they gain instead of what they lost. They start to see different directions too. Sometimes people just need a company, need somebody to just, I'm right there, if you need. But otherwise, up to you, whatever you like.
The other question I had is about the knife. You said that was laid out, and choosing to
stab your heart.
To stab your heart. I'm thinking of words. People say something, and but what if? I guess I just had a recent experience where that wasn't. The words were never meant in that fashion, but the person put the knife. I didn't put the knife there. They put a knife.
They put the knife.
I didn't put a knife down. I didn't lay it. I didn't put the gauntlet down for them to grab. But in the interaction, they felt that I had placed something there. I'm wondering how is that? You know what I mean?
Everybody has the untold story of sadness and pain that we don't know about. Sometimes even we have good intention of saying some things, but because they have certain kind of issues that they get caught up, it can be triggered that too.
That's true.
So inferiority. But as long as you really show your true intentions, I believe that people will understand it. It's just the expression might not be the right way that they understand, that's all. If you're not really mean, they will know that you're kind. Even though that's how they can deal with that.
Okay, thank you. Oh, I'm sorry.
Sometimes I have an issue with setting boundaries. Thank you. Between setting boundaries and just having a very calm demeanor, which is what I'd like to have, but I feel like when I do have to set a boundary, then I get more anxious and just, and I'd like to be calm and just, quiet, polite, compassionate, but then you can't really set that boundary, and I struggle with the middle way with that. A
few years ago, there was one couple in Peru. They just moved in together. They asked me a question. Said, we've been moving in together for a year, and we started to have a little fight. And then we think that we need more space between each other, for each other. That's how we started to agree with each other. I said, well, there's nothing wrong with that. But understand that when you say things like family, it means you stay under one roof. Meaning that if you're close with somebody, you spend a great deal of time with them all the time. So it means that your comfort zone will be overlapping a lot. If you demand more space, the question is that how big is the space that you need? How big the boundary that you need? Because if you don't know that, it keeps getting bigger and bigger. And nobody's going to know that. So number one, understand that when you are close with somebody, there will be the overlapping space. And that's when you feel it's violating, right? That is a space that you need to compromise. There's sometimes that you really need to talk, negotiate, flexible. There will be a lot of different ways to compromise. But understand that if you set the boundary so strongly, that's what you get. So anxious and fixed on that, this is a violation. But when you care about somebody really deeply, you will know that this overlapping space, there is certain room for forgiveness and flexibility. But of course, it needs the communications. Because don't forget that everybody set the boundary, the comfort zone in different distance. But when you close with somebody, it will overlap. That's all going to happen. You live in the same roof, you stay still close with somebody all the time. Just the way they use toilet, just the way they turn on the light, turn on the music, can be bugging you. And the worst part is that when we close with somebody, it's so easy to see all the negative parts of the person and the good one. If you live with somebody for so long, you see that you know all the bad stuff about the person. until many times you forget about the good one.